Hello and good evening for this Thursday, May 4th, 2023. We just finished the 26th episode of Big Brother Canada 11 here on Super Mater Brothers Podcasting, streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and on Twitch. You might be listening to us in the audio version. I'm Dave Mater, and I'm joined with a fantastic panel here on the podcast tonight to break down not just this episode, this eviction episode, as we get to our final four, but also the week 9 in general, because we don't podcast on Wednesdays because we have Survivor. So we're also catching up on episode 25 here as well. As mentioned, I'm Dave. We got Jaemeel Robinson with us tonight.
Hello. Reppin' the franchise on May the 4th.
Yes. And we also got Josh Foster back with us after many weeks of hiatus. He's coming back to talk about this season with us. It's going to be...
As you notice, my outfit is always the same. It's like a uniform. Just like, let's just clear the air right now. Like, I'm very basic when it comes to clothes. I'm not dressing to impress anybody. Let's just say that.
Well, you impress me, Foster. Don't you worry.
I save on laundry. That's what makes me happy.
Yeah, we're glad to have you here tonight. It's been what I think last time you were here. I don't know who was evicted, but
Kuzi was still part of the cast.
Kuzi was still in this cast and looked like she could win the season. That's no longer the case.
Oh, it was like it was gonna be she had like maybe 2 weeks I think left, and then she would have coasted to the end.
She got too hungry there. She thought she could taste that money, and she was
she was too nosy. She's like, "What are you doing? Like, why are you following people? Why are you going to the HOH like so prematurely? Like, especially so obvious? Like, it's just it was just so blatant, and it's just her. And then to cap it off, her disrespect to Renee. It was like, are you kidding me? Like when she was on the chair. Oh my! Or going to the chair, it was like, are you like? Oh my god! Like my jaw didn't drop like Renee's, or not Renee, Shanae's did, which was kind of like funny, like because it was just, you know what I mean. But it was quite like her pride is getting in the way of her judgment right now.
Yeah. Renee was
Sam. What?
Oh, talking tonight.
What?
Queen? Is she the Queen of Vaughn? Is that what she's the queen of? I don't know. Do you think we will get a Big Brother Canada 12? Well, I hope so. I think even though I think this cast in the season has been good, it could be better. I think that Jaemeel, I'm finding that I'm as we're down here in the final stretch. Now we're down to this final four after the Renee eviction in this episode. I'm feeling like it's not a lot to be excited about here.
I fell asleep in Wednesday's episode.
Yeah, this ongoing. I think that the story of the season, I think, is a lot of it is Ty and Claudia.
Yeah.
And I think Daniel described it in the Monday or is it Tuesday? Sorry, episode. He described it as like the weirdest showmance he's ever seen, and I have to agree with that assessment.
Yeah, it rubs me the wrong way. It really does. It's just
a relationship.
It does. It's just it's so toxic.
A lot of people are like, I think Ty is like maybe one of the. I don't know. I don't want to say great, but he's a notable villain. In terms of like Big Brother Canada, I'd say like he's just one of these people we want to root against. He's like a heel.
He's a comp beast. He is very well spoken. Like he the way that he talks, he
mumbles through his teeth.
He's well spoken in the sense that it's well received by people. Right, like people really take to him, and people really like side with him, right? Because like he was just controlling like 2 alliances for what? It's been 2 weeks now
since Kuzi left. Yes.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Kuzi went out last Thursday, so.
Yeah, so crazy. He just took
over. I guess you all missed my.
No, I watched it. I did watch your recap on Tuesday.
Okay. I'm not. I felt like weeks before we had a conversation about who I feel is deserving of winning, and I said it was Kuzi and Claudia. right? And if there was a third person, it would be Ty. Has that changed from since like those couple of weeks? It's changed. Kuzi's not a part of the picture anymore, so it's Claudia or Ty. If anyone besides those two win, it's a disappointing season in my opinion. I do not value Daniel's game enough. I think Anika has been she is she is one victory better than Victoria from Big Brother. Was it 16?
You mean Spacey V? That Victoria?
No, I mean from Big Brother US 16.
Okay.
You know, she almost got picked up by a bird. Victoria.
Yeah,
right?
She barely knew what show she was on.
Yes,
most of the time. Yeah,
right. Ty, as terrible and as much as I don't want to reward someone who has almost quit the game, the fact that he has just seemingly dominated in the last 3 weeks practically has to be recognized.
5 veto wins in a row.
Jeez.
And he might win this HOH. He was already, and leaving on this episode tonight, he was in the lead in the HOH competition.
So I'm gonna backtrack about this competition because I'm to quote someone who is not a queen of anything, pissed. Right? Because
why do I have this? I have this. I just realized I had the Survivor background on.
Yeah, you
did. not the Big Brother one. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. The last couple of days, Ty has been working with Claudia in terms of remembering his days, right? So he'll work with Claudia for like a couple hours, and then he'll go to Anika and Daniel and say, "Hey, I need help," and they would help him. They would help him with his days, and he's not good at it, but Daniel is better, right? And Anika,
wait, sorry to interrupt. They do this competition before.
No, like everyone, because like competitions repeat themselves constantly, right? There's always going to be a comp about days.
Yeah. Sometimes there's multiple comps about days. It drives me nuts when you only get this one. So like in my book, if I was making the show, you can have one comp on what day did this happen or whatever. That's fine. But like I think it was the most recent US season. It was like when they get down, it was just like every competition was that, like, you know, and they would like bring in like the jurors to like tell you on this day I was whatever. You know?
So typically, what you would see in a US season is they'll have a sit down one. They'll have like one that is a physical day competition where it's like, you know, on this day, blah, blah, blah happened. Get into your hamster wheel and spit it. How many days, you know, blah, blah, blah was, you know, in the house, right? And they'll have like a physical component. And then on top of that, they'll have the final, not veto, but the final competition, right? Part 3. And part 3 is usually like a scale or like, you know, question and answers. And this is where they get the past house guests or evicted house guests involved. And it'll either be true or false or specific days, true and false.
Yeah, it's the worst. It's the absolute worst. It's the worst part 3 of the HOH. They always do, especially on the US competition. I'm like, can you get a new idea? You know, who is it? Allison, is it Grodner? She runs the US side, right? And on the Canadian side, it's Aaron Brock. These are the equivalents to each other. They're the head bosses, showrunners, respectively. And I'm like, you know, you don't have to do this same part 3 every friggin' year, you know. But I digress. I'm getting a little off track from this particular week and everything else.
Please do so.
Sam commenting here, people hate this season because of the live feeds, because there's no live feeds, but this is a good season. I think, Sam, you're largely right. I think that the season is good, or is as good as like Big Brother Canada 9 and 10 were.
I don't know about that.
You know what I was thinking? Jeff made a really good point last night at Survivor, right? And it translates well to this season of Big Brother, is that everyone is too nice. There's no, and it's been like that for the whole season pretty much. Like, obviously people have left under their own circumstances, but you know, like, it's
Foster. How could you say that? How could you say that when just before you were like,
Exactly.
Kuzi, I couldn't believe Kuzi would be
Oh
so...
yeah, well, but that was
everyone's too nice?
Exactly. I said that because I was surprised that she would do that. Like that was
I
like
want some dirt on people. I want some dirt. Like I want some dirt on people. Like
no, I know, but
I begrudgingly respect Ty
there
because
has not been a lot of that
outside of like Ty, right? And Kuzi calling people out. Ty going, are you gonna keep Shania? Yeah. And then it comes time. Yeah, I'm using the veto. Anika, are you promise you're gonna keep the nominations the same? Yeah. And then it's like, why would you believe him? He's gonna do like Ty has been pretty obviously just looking out for the best scenario for him. So the question should be, hey, is Ty gonna help me out? It should be, does Ty's motivations align with what I want to happen? Right? That should be the answer. And the fact that it's like happened repeatedly, well, we're gonna try to vote Ty out, and then like he wins veto because they suck at like these physical comps, and then they get rid of all the physical players that could compete against him, so he has a clear path. And then when it's time, like I can't believe Claudia did not put him up. I cannot believe.
You mean last week?
Last week.
Lisa. Like once again, like that was like the turning point where it was like she was going to really cut ties with Ty, because that would have been like the second time in a row, right? That he went up in a week in a row, whatever it was, and or third time, and because once again, like we found out like tonight, it was like this relationship is just dumbfounding.
It's like the worst soap opera I've ever seen with these two. Like I think Claudia, she doesn't know how to quit him because she's like, well, he's all I have left. Especially after she kind of saw that Renee was probably going to go here. The fact that even last week that she wasn't able to convince Ty to not get rid of Shania, he had all the power.
She put herself in that position. I do not blame Ty one bit.
I agree with you. I think that it's largely on Claudia for not she couldn't even read this guy that she's been sleeping with and cuddling with for 9 weeks in pretty much that she just knew him so poorly that she was unable to anticipate what he would do or how he would be motivated. Is kind of like dumbfounding, and I think that's why I'm finding Claudia very hard to root for. When she was like breaking up with Ty and she was going off and working with Renee and Shania, I was way more in favor of Claudia as a fan cheering for her in this game. I kind of understand how in this particular week and in this episode we just finished, why she's kind of resigned here. She kind of throws this sympathy vote to Renee, but she kind of knows that it's not going to matter because she can't really convince Ty, or she's not even really going to try that hard, it seems. And ultimately, they know Anika is going to keep Daniel. So the one that really kind of threw me off tonight, guys, was the fact that Anika was getting all like pissy at Ty for betraying her. I was just like,
I was laughing.
You can't be betrayed, Anika, if he was never loyal to you and he's never been in an alliance with you. And he more betrayed Claudia, if anybody, last week. And he did this last week to her. And Daniel even points this out in the HOH room in earlier this week, where he was like, that Claudia couldn't even convince him not to use a veto or not to use a veto. Why do you think you will have this power on him? And she was just like, well, I'll be mad at him if he does.
Oh, well, that solves everything.
Well, he doesn't care. Why would he care? Why do you think he would care?
Ty is very determined right now. There's nothing stopping him right now. He's just he's using and abusing.
So hilarious.
Sam's rooting for Claudia or Claudia.
What do you mean, Claudia? We know.
Atlantic Proud. Hey, fair. I generally would cheer for the East Coaster too, being of that lineage, but she makes it really hard because this Ty is so unlikable.
Who else? Who else we're supposed to cheer for?
I feel like Daniel's the only one left I kind of like.
No, I don't like
And I don't
him
even
either.
like him that much, like, or really at all, But Anika, I find very hard to root for. This Final Four is kind of tough. It's like, I'm like, okay.
I can respect Claudia and Ty, right? I can. I might not like them. Sam, bro, she's not yours. You're not hers. It's okay.
Not yet. He hasn't met her yet. He hasn't got give him that chance.
Right? She's finding out what she doesn't like. Okay,
yes.
Sam. All right.
Yeah. Well, I think I hope when she gets out of the house, everyone who knows her real life,
your family who's only seen not live feeds, but the show is going to be like, Sam, bro.
Read the comments.
Look, no, Sam says, I will fight Ty. Sam, you are not fighting another person, right? Look, she has to make the decision. And if she cannot make the right decision, which is, you, then she doesn't deserve you. Okay?
I like it, Sam. You should totally fight him.
No, don't. Don't. Sam, don't, okay? Right?
Okay. Probably not a good idea.
He's gone to be he's arbitrating.
Yeah, you should fight Zach.
Ball game him.
The Kardashian of was it the Kardashian of not Vaughn of Oakville.
Will you help me? I'll hold him. You get him, just Sam. Boom, boom, boom. All right, and then you claim Claudia. That's gonna be how things are gonna play out here, I guess. It's like I don't know, ancient times or something. Okay, guys, let's talk a little bit more about this episode. What we got, and I guess last night's episode, although there wasn't a ton there, I thought to talk, to go over other than whatever. I don't know, the fact that Ty did use the veto and took down Claudia when he promised Anika he wouldn't.
Did they pinky swear?
Yeah, they pinky swore. And then this episode, I don't know, it was kind of boring. I think that I feel like that they threw in this whole Wendy's thing tonight just because they're not giving us much on the show, and I'm okay that the fact that there are no live feeds this year. I know, Jaemeel, you're missing the live feeds.
I am.
But do you know what I don't like about live feeds is the live feeders, not you, present company excluded, but it's kind of like this arrogance that some of the Big Brother fans have, well, the live feeds, if you knew what was going on in the live feeds, then you would never cheer for so-and-so or this person or whatever. And then it becomes like this moral judgment kind of cult effect where they're like, well, so-and-so can't have this and whatever. And I think that it's good to have that information sometimes, but on the other hand, I think it becomes incredibly distracting. And I understand why Canada doesn't want to do it, because of all their sponsorships, because they got, Wendy's or whoever sponsoring or HelloFresh or whoever the heck's sponsoring a segment. And, the live feeds with any kind of controversy, somebody says something casually and then somebody listening in the live feed says, well, this person's whatever label they're going to put on them, sexist, racist, whatever. And then it becomes controversial, and then it becomes a lot of buzz, and then you're on TMZ or whatever. So it's I don't know. I get kind of it. But I think that it's good to have more context about what's happening with these conversations and live feeds. I just hate the fan community, the live feed community tries to dominate this sort of moral judgment of the house guests constantly throughout the season. I just to, I don't know, get a thrill out of tearing somebody down. It's almost like that cancel culture kind of a thing. And I think that
consequence culture,
I don't know, it depends what it is, but obviously if somebody's doing something very bad, I get that you shouldn't really cover that up on the show.
But they've shown that they can't be trusted. They've done it repeatedly.
True. But do we need this small segment of the fan base to beat the police? I don't know.
It keeps people. Mitchie,
Mickey?
wouldn't, whatever his name is, right? I try to exercise him from my memory. would he have gotten the heat that he received, right? And
Without
people,
live feeds? No way.
without live
Absolutely.
feeds,
No way.
right?
Did he deserve all the heat he got? I guess. He was kind of a jerk.
He was cheating in the game.
He was eating grapes in the shower when he was supposed to be a have-not.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like, Foster, do you have an opinion about live feeds or not having live feeds? I know
mean,
you wouldn't watch them either way, right? So
I don't watch them. But here's the thing: like the way that I look at it is that the show is called Big Brother, and the concept is being able to be watched all the time.
right.
Right. So in that regard, I feel like they should be there because it is a part of the shtick of the show, if you will. Right.
It's the very concept of it. Yeah.
Exactly. Thank you. So I feel for Jaemeel because there are the fans that have been around for a very long time that are very used to it because it's what the show is about, right? Even though they have the 3 times a week, different competitions and votes and whatnot to show you what's going on throughout the whole week. It's still not enough for some people, right? Once again, it's a give and take, right? So on Jameel's side, they're trying something out, Jaemeel, obviously, right? I don't know if it's like if they just are choosing not to do it anymore, right? Like that's the problem is that they're not giving any information on that. It seems they're just doing it, which is frustrating because then you're left with questions, not answers, right? And with Dave, it's like, okay, well, at the same time, right? Like as a viewer, is 3 times a week is what we see enough, right? Is enough what we want to see, right? Because even like tonight, what we're talking about is like this episode was like, there's not much to talk about, right? There's a little slow, like they threw in the Wendy's competition, right? And
Competition.
yeah,
call that
or auction, sorry, whatever. Yeah,
We're not getting the auction of Survivor anymore. We're getting on Big Brother.
Yeah, with Wendy's points.
But oh, sorry, I lost my train of thought there.
Sorry for kind of stepping in the middle of that.
No, it's okay. Oh, geez.
You were explaining that I was right, Foster. I think.
Yeah. You're both right, but you're also both just complaining. So relax.
I just feel like Big Brother was the type of show that you can enjoy in a multitude of facets. You have it's like people who watch DVDs and people who just watch the movie and people who watch the movie with commentary, right? They watch it repeatedly. They have more insight in terms of like how the baby batter makes the baby. At the same time, yes, I do agree there is this constant witch hunt where it's just like everyone's like I don't want to say everyone. There are people who are like just looking to kind of like create a case as to why this person is bad, right?
Why they don't deserve to be there,
Not even like deserve, like, oh, and I said before, no one deserves anything. Okay, you're on a game show. You don't deserve it, right? You're like, there's no one here who's homeless, right? All you have jobs, right? You're not dying, right? So none of you deserve it. There's no money owed to you.
There's no entitlement here.
No. Yeah, no entitlement, right? So whenever I hear that, I'm just like, no, that's BS, right? People looking for something to get angry for is wrong. People finding stuff where we should be angry about is different. Now, the problem is it could look the same, right? And you have to be I would hope intelligent enough, emotionally intelligent enough to understand the difference, right? Unfortunately, you have Twitter as basically the most vocal area of this happening. And yeah, it is not, it wasn't a good place before. It's much worse now. So yeah.
Like, and I think like we're all kind of on the same points here. It's like I think I would like to have live feeds back if it wasn't such like like this witch hunt is probably the right word, because it's kind of like, well, we got to separate the house guests into good people and bad people who whatever. Like I guess we always do this no matter whether we're watching the show or not.
Everyone's bad.
You can
Everyone
make a case
sucks.
for all, right?
Everyone sucks. Okay, if I'm on the show, I'm gonna suck. Like,
well, if you're being watched 24/7, but you're not in this case you're not and like when Arissa says
they don't know that.
yeah, did they not know that they have no
They
live
don't
feeds?
know this.
Oh, they don't know this. Okay, well, next season they will know this.
Yeah.
So, but what's sorry, my train of thought was
Sorry, I interrupted again.
no, it's okay. It's okay. That like take Ty. We all kind of don't like the way he talks to Claudia and the way he kind of carries himself and whatever. But if we had live feeds, we would have so much more dirt on him. That
Not necessarily. We could have greater context to his story, and maybe there's a particular reason why. We don't know how Claudia talks to him when the cameras are off or the cameras are not looking, right? So he might be returning the same energy, right, at a different time that she's giving, right?
Right.
But I don't know that. And that's why when I'm talking about the show, I'm not talking about Ty the person, right? Because I don't know Ty the person. I know Ty the character on a TV show where it's severely edited down, right? That's the only thing I can claim context to, and that's the only thing I'm going to really talk about, right? So, and then Ty on the live feeds is a different thing than Ty the person, because when we're not being we're not watched 24/7, right? We get we're given a version of ourselves as well. So folks, chill. Chill in general.
I used to like to watch Big Brother After Dark because it was kind of like this halfway between live feeds and the more edited show. I don't know if you used to watch that. Yeah, and it was kind of like you just see them like hanging out. It was kind of like live feeds, but not like a 24/7. It was kind of more of an edited version of live feeds.
But you get a good idea of social dynamics as well.
Yeah, you get a better sense of like when these people are just hanging out, how they kind of interact, especially in the early phase when there's more house guests and everyone's getting to know each other more. So I wish we had more of that. I think that's why they gave us the digital dailies. That's them trying to, but that's not really good enough either. Don't even bother is kind of the way I look at that. Like do like a companion show or an After Dark or something that's going to give you more of it, but maybe something they can control still so that they can leave out the really icky stuff, I guess. But
we might see some more After Dark in the US version, because if that writer strike keeps going, well into reality TV is going to have to step up, because it's when writer strikes happen. Last time there was a writer strike, I believe it was Big Brother 9.
It was it was like the late 2000s. I think was the last time. Yeah. Maybe 2008 or something.
They got Big Brother 9 out of it, which is considered one of the better seasons, right? But if we get that and it goes into July, there's not enough turnaround time for a lot of scripted television to just suddenly come back on the air, right? So there's going to be a staggered approach. All the summer shows would have to be delayed because they didn't get their full order being done and written and rewritten. Like production practically stopped, right? All the talk shows, they have to decide, are they going to start back up, or are they just going to call it quits for the summer and then restart come the new television season. So that gap is going to have to be filled in with programming that they already have in the can, and program they can easily, cheaply make without any type of writers.
Just do what Star Trek did. Do a clip show where Riker's in a coma and he's reliving all the first 2 seasons of Next Generation. And at the end of it, he comes out of the coma. That's how you get around a writer's strike. But I hope that could be a very the way place. Okay, guys, back to the episode.
Sorry.
So there's this whole part of the episode where like they're put on slop, and they're all like,
I love Daniel's run. The whole sequence I thought it was really funny.
They were like, why is this happening? Why is this happening? And Jane and I were just like, because you're boring, because you're not giving us anything exciting on the show. So like the producers are like, we're just going to take their food away. Maybe that will cause some drama or something else. But they were also setting up this Wendy's segment. I didn't know that yet. But, I think they wanted to get them hungry for those chicken strips and those baconators and whatever else. like Daniel's reaction was kind of funny. But they didn't give us any kind of context in this episode about how much time were they on Slop from the time like Spicy V shows up to do this auction. I guess maybe was it a day? Was it 3 days? I don't know. And so that like
if
Claudia
it's
said,
a day or 3 days, then I feel like that's garbage. I'm like, that's not enough time.
Claudia said it felt like forever in her confessional in DR. But we also saw that people got to like leave their Wendy's. Okay, first actually, before we get to the auction, Spicy V, Jaemeel, were you happy to see her back? Hamilton's own, straight from the mountain.
Okay, especially with this group left over, she's like, wow, so much personality. And then it's like, Anika, okay, guys, right? It's just, she's such a high level, interesting character compared to the people that we have left.
Yes.
It just stands out so much.
Yeah.
So much.
I am so good at this game.
Oh my god.
She's better than some of these people for sure.
Foster. She was not good at this game. When you talk about someone blowing up their game, she's her own tie. Okay.
Well, that's awkward.
Who, Renee?
No, I mean Spicy V, Victoria. She's like her own tie. She just blowed up her own game.
Yeah, well, was she twerking on the way out of this tonight? And she, like Jaemeel, when we watched her in that season, Foster, we were like, oh my god, she's that girl, because they gave them alcohol. That girl in quotes, because they gave her alcohol one night in the house, and she was a little wild.
Yeah, doing splits and humping everything.
Do they is alcohol not like permitted at all, like in Big Brother US or Canada?
It's like rationed. It's like they give it out like sparingly.
Okay. See, and here's the other thing I was thinking, So I was thinking about I go a little off topic again, right, real quick. But like Big Brother you see that there's a lot of stress on the mind, right? And especially with the auction, right? We saw with the family stuff, right? They'll misconnect. I understand, like what's been 2 months almost, right? It's 58, 59 days, whatever, right? And I think I saw it tonight. And there's that human element, right? But then there's the challenge, right? And I wanted to bring up was the challenge is they actually are able to like call home, right? Like they have those breaks as well, right? They
in the auction, there was a video from home, call.
And on the show, the challenge.
On the challenge, they can actually they can not regularly, but like they can call like video calls home, right? And they go out in public, and it's not as secluded or isolated. Like they keep their challenges away from people, obviously, right? But it's not as
sequestered.
Like, even though you're going, like, even for Survivor, even though you're going down to Fiji or whatever, not Fiji, it's Fiji.
Yeah, it's Fiji. Yeah, Fiji.
And you go down to Fiji, right? You're still in a bubble. You know what I mean? It's still like kind of like covered, right? It's not really a part. You're not really like it's controlled. It's a controlled environment, is what I'm trying to say. And with Big Brother, with the cast, there's nothing else going on, so the stress of the game is just like, well, there's these people that are just here, and there's nothing like you see it in Anika, and you see it in Renee, and you see it even in Claudia, because she's holding on to Ty, right? Because seems like she can't cope with the game without him for some reason.
Well, I think you need a whole team of psychiatrists to analyze that relationship, especially from her perspective. I get it from Ty's perspective. He makes complete sense to me, but Claudia doesn't make a lot of sense to me in terms of what she sees in this guy. But love is love, I guess. What are you gonna do?
So we're at the auction then, right?
The auction. Okay, the fact that Ty had so many more points than everybody else.
My goodness.
He had 30,000 points, guys.
You know why he had that many points?
Because Kuzi gave them to him.
Yeah, Kuzi gave it to him.
Kuzi had 10,000 or 16,000 when she left the game, and so she gave like all those to Ty.
Yep.
Ty, who I don't know. Why? I don't.
Why did she give it to Ty?
Why did she give it to? Because she's mad at Daniel and
Anika.
Nika.
You heard her. She's like she was tired of
Carrying them on her back. Oh yeah. Well, to be I don't know. Yeah, we need to talk about the jury segment too. But yeah, like this, she gives all these points. So Ty could have bought every reward here, and they couldn't have even touched him. He could have bought the phone call. He could have bought the video message. We saw that he did buy all that Wendy's, and I don't know if he was allowed to share it with the rest of them, or if he did. That was not shown either.
Would you have shared it with them?
That much food, I think so. Yeah, like
yeah, I probably would have caved.
Yeah, if it was just one Happy Meal, maybe not, or whatever Wendy's version of that is. But you know, like the fact that it was like enough food for like a party of 10, and there was only 5 of them. I think it was very plausible. He could have shared it. He gave one of the chicken strips to Spicy V. That seemed like it was within the rules.
Did wait, hold on.
That was under contract, probably.
That was like her bonus or her tip.
Yeah. Did he give it to her, or did she talk about it and then take one?
Well, she
talked about it and took one.
That's how Spicy V rolls.
She didn't ask. She's like, "Ooh, look at that! Taking a chicken strip for the road."
Nothing is rigged.
Yeah.
I did laugh. I'm like, that's hilarious. I could just see the producers like, you were supposed to do that. It's like, what are you gonna do?
Everything that happens is so real.
It just happens, you know. That's your Spicy V. The Anika phone call with her mom, I guess,
seemed like piped in and fake. I'm like, is this real? Is this like really happening?
It felt like it was like, yeah, like did they record her mom's side of the conversation, or did they get her to like re-record her side of the conversation and then they edited it into the episode, or
the mother did not truthfully did not know English and just was repeating the same things over and over again.
Perhaps. Yeah, it was a bit of a weird call. Yeah, but she was, and Renee almost bought it or whatever. And like, I was like, why don't you guys use, what happens? Do you want to save these Wendy's points for later? Are you going to need them later? Like,
do you get like a gift card at the end of the season with all your points on it?
Like, what was there? Like, I guess like they didn't want to use up all their points, but like there was no real like indication that they were going to need these after this moment.
I didn't understand. Like, okay, Foster, maybe you'll appreciate this, but I like, even though Ty has more points than me, you should still try to push him, right?
Yeah, well,
don't just give up.
I think the biggest problem was, and this is kind of my immediate reaction when the auction ended, was like, that's it. I thought there'd be more.
That's the rules. Like with same thing with Survivor. When Survivor does its auctions, they have their prize allotment. They don't tell you when it's coming to a close until it's over.
No, I know. I understand that. What I'm saying is that I expected it to be longer. I expected there to be more prizes because it seemed like you said, because there was still a lot of points to be had, right? So if you go by the minimum bids and they weren't going like up, like even like you should be like, if there's no live feeds off camera, be like just so you know, there's only this amount of prizes, because it's just like, because then they're left with these points, right? Unless you make it clear, like unless we're supposed to be talking about it right now, maybe that's the point.
Yeah, it's like more Wendy's conversations.
Wendy's I did have the breakfast, Jaemeel.
You wanted
I did have one of the breakfast items. I was very excited. I did not get a drink. I just got did I get a coffee? I can't remember.
Did you get those French toast sticks or whatever they had?
No, I didn't get that. I just got it was the croissant, sausage, egg, cheese sandwich thing. No, wait, no cheese.
Gotta go for the breakfast baconator. That's how it goes.
Oh, there.
Sorry,
so I was impressed. Ooh. Because a croissant fast food is very hard to produce, in my opinion. I'm serious. Like, I don't think like Tim Hortons is okay. Like, I think it gets hard and it gets very quickly.
Have you read Burger King's croissant?
No, I have not.
It is an oily mess.
Okay, well, this is not. Well, this one was not an oily mess. It was good.
Okay.
So I was impressed with that. I'm looking forward to having the breakfast baconator, and I'm looking forward to having the French toast sticks my next time. So stay tuned for the part 2 review. But
Okay.
it's basically the overall summation of part 1 is that I'm looking forward to the next meal. It's trending upward.
He's going back, guys. So
He's going back.
The
Trending up.
sponsorship worked. It got Foster at the Wendy's breakfast. Was there anything else in that part 1? We're having multiple parts.
Yeah.
Was there anything else in that auction that stood out to you guys? Like, I thought it was a little like it was over very quickly.
So it was 1,000, 3,000, the Wendy's, the call from home, the conversation with Ty,
Yeah.
and then the jury video, which was not done this episode. So does that mean they're doing it later then, I guess? Like, how does that work?
It's going to be this upcoming week because this is the final week of the show. I wonder, like, Daniel should have went all in on that one. Plea to the jury.
Yeah. Oh, and then okay. Well, let's talk about what's his name? Ty. He bought the right to talk to Tashawn, another Ty, the winner of Big Brother Canada 9, the Spicy V season. Jaemeel, as somebody who knows I was like, how many Wendy's points would you have bid on a chance to have a strategy session with Ty? Tashawn.
One
point.
1 point.
His answer, it seemed like his advice was generic. Like,
he was a very generic player.
Why couldn't his comments have been very direct? Like, has he been watching the season? Is like, can he be? Like,
he can't give up that kind of information.
Yeah.
Well, I guess he's coming with a different perspective. That's fair. That's true.
I had Tashawn that season in the draft, and like he was hard to root for. You know,
You won that season, Dave.
I won that season, but
what pick were you?
I think I was like first. I think I took Tashawn first overall.
Oh, 2 ties first overall.
Who did I pick that season?
Hold on, let me pull that.
Yeah, let's break it out.
You might. I think you had Kiefer,
which I'm happy about.
That was 9. Big Brother Canada 9. Here we go.
Yeah.
So Jaemeel. Sorry, I took Tashawn at number 3.
Yep.
Jaemeel, who did you have? You had Spicy V, and you had Julie as well.
Does everyone remember? Oh, Julie! Remember, Julie was the
who?
second person. Was the second person voted out?
Yeah, she was evicted on day 2.
Yes. No. Well, first then.
Day
and
2.
Then the other guy was the. I'm happy I picked Spicy V. I'm happy I picked Spicy V.
You took Spicy V with your first pick, I think. You took Julie with your first pick, and you took Spicy V with your second pick.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway, I had Tashawn. I was like, is there a chance that Tashawn and Ty already know each other from like, I don't know, just Toronto scene and Toronto, like, I don't know, personal trainer scene or something like that. I don't know, like Instagram model types. I don't know. I've had a feeling like these two.
My question is, why isn't it Big Brother Canada doing the, oh, you're a personal trainer, I'm going to vote you out first?
Yeah.
Like they do in the States.
Yeah, they always they usually want to vote out like the people who are like professional trainers or whatever like that, right? But not so much in Canada. I don't know why. And don't like. There's this basketball connection, I think, as well between Tashawn and Ty. But they didn't bring that up on the show. They're just both players, both ball gamers, if you will. I don't know. I thought you're right. The advice was generic. I think the only thing Tashawn said that I thought was it was still generic, but at least it was true. He was just like, he's like, well, you don't win this game. This game's awarded to you. So you have to get those jury votes and you have to kind of get like when you're at Final Five, figure out who your biggest threat is and get that person out. And so he decided tonight, Deshaun, that Renee was a bigger threat to him than Daniel was. So was that correct? If you're tied, would it have been is it better if you're tied to keep Renee in the game or to keep Daniel in the game? We obviously know what happened, but
Renee. I see.
Yes.
No, I think that Renee would. See, like on a personal level, Daniel is liked by everyone, right? But from a game perspective, Renee's done more. I think she has, because she has a story in terms of like, well, I've been on the block all these times, but yet I haven't gone home.
And she was an HOH.
Yeah.
Which, okay, people saying that, oh, she was on the block and she didn't go home means she has a good social game. She does not have a good social game. When you saw everyone react to her winning HOH, the entire jury was flabbergasted, right? And not even like, yeah, she did it. They were like, really? Like her? She was responsible? Like, they don't respect her as a player at all, that jury. The girly pops did, kind of, right? But if Shania was being honest with herself, she didn't respect Renee.
Daniel
right?
is not. Well, I know, but like I just feel like you could talk more about Renee's game than you can Daniel's game. Like I don't think there is much of Daniel's game, to be honest. Like it's just like he won a POV and he saved Ty, and
which was a secret, so most people don't even realize he
did that. And he exactly.
There's stuff that did happen, but it once again was not shown on the show.
Well, once again, like this is a part of the issue, then, right?
So, like, he's been, working behind the scenes, working against Kuzi since the very beginning. He even had an alliance with the girly pops for a time. Like, he's been doing a lot of work, but the thought process is, and I can understand Kuzi's position, is if all that energy was spent towards kind of strategizing and working with the crown, then who knows what could have happened. And the fact that it's a who knows situation, you can somewhat understand why there is misgivings about the situation. You can't have it both ways, where you were using all this energy to like put yourself forward, right, when other people in your alliance were like really thinking about the alliance first and foremost.
Yeah. I think like the crown, like I think sometimes you can be judged based on like the quality of your alliance. To remember Faute. 5 of us till the end. 5 of us till the end, which was on what was that, like Big Brother Canada 20, maybe?
No, Big Brother US 20.
Big Brother US 20. Right, and it was like the most disastrous alliance ever. That was the one that like was Swaggy C and all these it was,
we gotta get Swaggy C out. He has his name on a shirt.
Yeah, and like I think one of them put up 2 of their own alliance members. And when I think of the crown, it's like when they lost Jonathan, it's like I felt like he was just like a series of like downfalls after that, because then they lost hope, and then Kuzi goes.
They lost hope.
Yeah, they lost all hope. And then you're just left here with Daniel and Anika at the end, and you're just kind of like, this is not the brains of this alliance, but they're the leftovers in a sense of this alliance. And we saw that Ty already knew about it. Ty like, oh yeah, Kuzi told me about that, and they were all pissed, when they found out that. Then I didn't end up changing Ty's decision, but that Kuzi basically burned everything on the way out, of the house. So they were there, and she will be advocating against them in jury. And I think that was the only thing. I think smartly Daniel pitched that to Ty in this episode. He's like, listen, Kuzi's in jury telling everyone not to vote for me, so you're better to keep me than Renee. And I was like, that's a good actual point. I think you're actually correct with that, Daniel. So
do you think it's more anti-Daniel or pro-Claudia? Because I think she respects Claudia's game.
For Kuzi, I felt like it was anti Anika and anti.
No, but in terms of her vote, I think that she'll be pro Claudia.
Over Daniel?
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
for Kuzi though, you're talking about, right? Like,
Yeah, she's vengeful. She's vengeful. She's not going to vote for Daniel or Anika.
Yeah, but I think she'd be more motivated because she would want Claudia to win over Ty, over Daniel, over Anika.
I think
Not like
if it's
I'm
Claudia and
looking
Ty
at-
at the end, I bet you Kuzi votes for Ty.
If Ty makes it to the end, don't you kind of like you can understand why people would vote for this man though?
But in Kuzi's case,
Even in
you're
Kuzi's
you're
case,
saying like Kuzi's
you're-
all pro Claudia, but if it's
He is
Claudia
pro
versus
Claudia.
Ty, she's going to vote
that
for
means
Ty.
that means Claudia did not get her mission done, which is to
I agree
eliminate
with
Ty.
that. That's a whole other thing. I think this might be a good time to segue to the jury segment that we had in this
episode. Yeah.
Like they're always up at this farmhouse up in like I imagine it's like North Toronto or something like that. It's like maybe up in Muskoka. I'm not sure where it is exactly, but we saw that both Kuzi and Shania come into this, but we also kind of got a little bit of what was going on with the other segments. We see like Santina and Dan S doing yoga, Hope and Jonathan. These two love each other. Like I if I was Jonathan's wife, I'd be concerned about how much Hope likes Jonathan. It's
like they're school age kids, and he's like, "Mom, Hope is coming over for after school," and then you see them, they're just like coming together, and then they're like go to the basement just immediately.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they're kind of like they're like these like the new best friends on a play date.
Yeah.
Hope was able to do like a vertical leap right over Jonathan's head. Did you see that in the segment? Like that, I was like impressed. I was like, Jonathan's a pretty tall guy.
He did it effortlessly. It looked like too. Like didn't look like it was that
hard for him at all. Yeah. Who else was in jury, guys?
Santina being bitter about Hope.
Santina was bitter about Hope. Santina was also bitter about was it Ty? I think it was Ty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She said she still would vote for Ty.
She would never vote for Ty. I was like, I was like, good for you, Santina. The other jurors, Hope, Jonathan, and Santina, Dan S. I don't know, whatever. Okay, so when Kuzi comes in, she's like, I carried these guys. I carried Daniel C and Anika the whole way, and this is how they would pay me, and so she comes in, and then Shania comes in a minute later. I forgot that Dan S and Shania were friends. I had forgotten about that, so they were happy to see each other. But they're like, it almost seemed like the way Shania explained it, it was almost like Claudia got me out. Claudia, my best friend, got me out, and almost selling Claudia. I'm like, that's not really what happened. It was just that Claudia should have put up Ty from the beginning, knowing that he could have won veto. But again, I still think that Anika is twice as dumb because she just watched this go play out with Claudia, and then she does the exact same thing and doesn't put Ty up. Ty wins the veto and doesn't do what Anika wants. So it's
Anika would try to kick Lucy's ball on football in Peanuts. It's like, right after Charlie Brown got fooled.
Yeah.
Don't worry, what I did to her, what I did to Charlie Brown, I won't do to you.
Yeah, like anything else in that jury segment that stuck with you, Foster?
Sorry.
No.
Sorry, Foster.
Yeah, no, I think that's probably all I have to say, about this week, and about like we can look ahead to this Final Four. It looked like Ty. I bet you Ty will be the next HOH. I strongly suspect he will be. I think it's ironic as hell if Daniel helped him learn his days and ends up losing to Ty here. And if Daniel goes next, which he very may well be the one to go, I think that the irony is amazing. So, but let's say Ty wins, and who's the most likely evictee with a tie HOH? It's probably not Claudia, right?
I think that it'll be
Anika.
If Ty if Ty's smart, he'll vote out Daniel.
But Ty doesn't get to vote. If Ty wins the HOH, he'll
No,
get
I
to
know,
vote.
but he'll sway Claudia to vote that way.
Right. In the final four, it's always about the veto too, right?
Yeah.
You know.
I was wrong earlier last week. I apologize, saying that the veto is the most important for the previous week. It's this week.
Veto has whoever wins the veto either is the sole vote or controls, if you're the HOH, controls who the sole vote is.
Yeah.
Right.
HOH is just immunity.
Yeah, it's effectively immunity. But does the HOH still not compete in the veto? In the final, like I know Big Brother Canada is different, but
yes, it has to.
yeah, all four of them will
2 weeks.
compete?
Yeah, wasn't last week the last time?
They played POV tonight, so yeah.
But no, last week was the last time HOH wouldn't be playing in a veto veto competition.
But they did play last night in the veto. That person being Anika. Nika played the veto last night.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So if I could see Ty winning both HOH and veto.
Yep.
So then he puts Claudia in maybe in that sole vote position. She has to choose between Anika and Daniel. Who does she evict?
Like I said, if Ty will sway her.
Well, who do Ty and Claudia decide they want to evict of those two?
I say Anika.
But isn't Anika less of a threat to win than Daniel?
It's not the matter of less of a threat. It's who's going to take you.
Well, who's going to take who, I guess, you know?
Claudia would take Ty over Daniel.
Would Claudia take... Who would take Anika to final two of these of the other three, you know?
Worst case scenario, Daniel?
Just Daniel, right?
Yeah. Possibly.
Is Daniel the bigger jury threat than Anika? I think so.
Yes-ish.
But it's not a lot, right?
No. I think Kuzi would have a hard trouble voting for Anika. Because if you have problems in terms of how Daniel played the game, at least Daniel was playing the game.
Right. Well, Anika was kind of playing it at a more support role. Like I'd say Kuzi was kind of like the face of the alliance, and I'd say
Jonathan was the heart.
Yeah, Anika was kind of like the conciliary. She was kind of like Kuzi's advisor for a lot of it, I felt like. And then when Kuzi kind of turned on them, or they turned on each other, a week ago, all that fell apart and they became very bitter and angry at each other. Who was carrying who? And that was the kind of the thing with the alliance guys, is that they kind of burned down the alliance over bitterness. And I was like, when next week, you're only going to have each other. So probably, right? Because, and I think that's what Claudia sort of ended up in a position of. Like, she's like, even as much as she doesn't necessarily like Ty, or she's got these conflicted feelings about Ty, I think she's like, at this stage of the game, she's going to trust him more than she's going to trust these other two. I think Renee, even, can she really trust Renee, to watch out for her, or is Ty a more realistic option? I think she's right to kind of just go with Ty, because he's maybe not as predictable, but at least they have a relationship. At least there's a connection there. And she can try to work it.
There's just going to be a conversation that has to happen where they're going to want to know which was part of his, what was part of which, what does his game look like? Or was she swept up in his game? Did she have her own game?
Yeah. Some interesting things to consider here. That last question before we sort of wrap this up. Foster, who do you want to win, and who do you think will win?
I want Ty to win because I have the first pick, and I want that glory. Who I think will win is Claudia.
You think Claudia will win? Okay, and same to you, Jaemeel.
Claudia. Who should win? If things progress the way they are, Ty.
You think Ty will win? I want at this moment Daniel to win.
Mm.
And
Uphill
I think Ty will win this season. The guy who nearly walked out of this game was Zach before he realized it was just a game show over Hope getting a letter stuck in his sock from his girlfriend. This would be the greatest thing ever if this guy who nearly walked out over the most trivial nonsense.
If he just wait a couple of weeks, he could have got one for, for just some fake points. If he just a couple more weeks.
Yeah, I think that would be just this poetic story to the season. Okay, and so next week, Jaemeel, you and I and Jeff and Jane, we're all going to be at the finale in Toronto. We're going to see the live Rob Has a Podcast coverage. Yep. Foster, we won't necessarily talk to you that night. We might.
No, I'll be. Well, I won't even be watching. Unfortunately, I'll be on the road going up north for the first weekend of many for the cottage this year, but it'll. I don't have the social media to spoil it for me, so I'll get to it when I get to it.
Okay, well,
I'm looking forward to it though. It's just unfortunately the timing.
Yeah. Well, then I guess this is our last podcast together on Big Brother Canada 11. So for the season. So hey. It's been fun, and we still have a bit more to go because I know we have ball hockey on Tuesday. So Jameel's probably going to be giving some kind of a recap that night if he's not busy.
I should be.
And then we have Survivor Wednesday. We'll talk there, and maybe we'll just talk a little bit about the end of the season. But yeah, like next week in Toronto, a week from tonight, we'll be down there. Maybe we'll get to meet some of these people, Jaemeel. Maybe we'll meet Hope. Do you hope we meet Hope?
No, I want to meet Jonathan.
Jonathan? Okay. Well, who knows? We might meet Kuzi.
Big Daddy K.
I'll put it, Sam, if I meet Claudia, I will put in a word for you. Okay.
Yes.
I'll say, this is guy who wants to fight Ty for your heart, and I might help. So if you're open to that, you can find us on the Super Mario Brothers podcasting several times a week. Okay, well, thanks, guys. This has been fun breaking this all down, talking about this season. Thanks for, of course, being with us. If you didn't know, we're also covering season 44 of Survivor right now on Wednesdays. As mentioned, they're just got 2 weeks left there, so we got next week and the week after that to cover, and then Big Brother USA season 25. Is that what we're coming up to? We'll be like sort of end of June that will be starting up.
It's a quarter quell.
It's a quarter quell, yeah. So watch out for that stuff in the near future. But this Sunday night, we're also going to be talking about the other thing we'd like to talk about on this channel, Marvel. We call it the Mary Mater Marvel Society. And we're going to be talking about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. That will be our next Marvel podcast. So check that out Sunday night. We'll be live streaming that with Davan, breaking that stuff down. Jameel's coming back from Chicago that day. So hopefully he's able to come meet us back. We'll understand if there's some delay or whatever, we'll certainly get on.
I still got to buy my tickets.
Yeah, I have mine already, so I'm good there.
Well, I still need to figure out which theater in Chicago I'm going to be watching it.
Yeah, they'll have theaters in Chicago, so you'll be okay.
Well, I want to see the good theater.
Yeah, well, of course. And then, if you didn't know, we're part of this channel is part of a greater network of podcasts called the United Federation of Podcasts, which has Jaemeel and myself and many other great podcasters like Davan Skelhorn, Chris Murphy. We got Andre Mayette and many others who are part of it. My son Eamon has his own podcast called Eamon on Track. Going to be doing a podcast soon where that's like album reviews he does with different guests. I think Adam Woodward's going to be on next, and Jaemeel, if he can ever decide on an album, will also be on that show. So check that one out. There's Hold Up, a movie podcast every second Wednesday with Murphy and Davan, which Jaemeel was on last night talking about heist movies like the Pink Panther.
We almost hit 4 hours.
You guys were you were already on when we came to do the Survivor podcast. And when I finished the Survivor podcast, you guys were still going.
Yeah.
I was like, wow. I was like, so
the first movie we spoke for 50 minutes and then all hell broke loose.
I haven't listened to it, so has there been a lot of disagreements?
We were actually agreeing in the second movie. The last movie we disagreed with.
Oh, okay. There you go. So 3 movies where they in a different theme. They all talk about it. Check that out on Hold Up. Davan and Andre, for that matter, have the X-Men, the animated review show. It's called X-Rated every Tuesday, where they talk about that cartoon show. But they've also interviewed voices from that show, like the voice of Storm, the voice of Rogue, different artists, the creators of the show, Erica and Julia Leewald. It's a great podcast, and they're going to be pulling that into X-Men 97, which will be coming out in the Disney Plus later this year, the continuation of that great cartoon from the 90s. Graphic Histories podcast with Andre Mayette, where he interviews people from comic books and film and different things, audio format only. And speaking of which, we have another audio only format, which is called the Hellbound podcast. Michael Chan, Alex Blackburn on Wednesdays talk about horror movies, horror festival related events, some role plays. If you like horror, it's a podcast for you. And also Trivial Debates, a monthly show where we argue about movies, TV, sports, and more. Coming up very soon, May 14th, Chris Seymour set to host the next edition. And I might be in it. We'll see if I'm going to be a competitor or not. But we're going to have, I think Davan and Eamon are going to be in the mix for that at least. If we can get a producer, I will perhaps be in there too. As well as we have Star Trek theme channel called Live Long and Podcast, where we have all kinds of different Star Trek podcasts. So many Star Trek podcasts. We're talking about Star Trek Enterprise. We're talking about Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Star Trek Picard, Star Trek Strange New Worlds, Star Trek Radio Theater, which we just put out our edited version of Star Trek V, The Final Frontier today, or was it yesterday? We finally got that published. I don't know if you had a chance to listen to that, Jaemeel, but your Scotty was immaculate. So, can't hear you.
Yes, folks. Sorry. Always check that out. The great thing about Radio Theater is you get 2 versions. So we have the live version and we have the polished version that Dave painstakingly looks over. So you have a polished, wonderful, story-driven episode that's still hilarious to listen to, but also you have the live version where it's you don't know what's going to happen.
It's more of a live version.
Yeah.
More raw.
More raw.
More raw. So definitely check it out. Final Frontier is pretty good. And the one after that is Lord X one.
I haven't finished that edit yet. But like it's so, and even in the edited version, I can't even edit out all the laughs and sort of the impromptu moments that happen. But check those things out. Like there was that one where Murphy he forgot to tell them to turn on the view screen or whatever, put it on the view screen, and so I had to edit in this part where you were Scotty, but you weren't on the bridge, right? So I had to like get you to like boop boop. Hey, Captain, maybe you want to put that on the view screen, and I threw that into the edit. So anyway, that's one of those moments. Okay, so I think those are all the shows for tonight. I think maybe we will go maybe we'll go on a Tashawn or a Spicy V or something like that. Quote.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Well, we'll see you next time, and thanks for being with us here on the channel. Have a great night. All right, let's go with this.
Played basketball, not baseball. So,
All right. See you next time.
Take care.